Sanbonani, this is Pastor Thandiwe Nyoni from Johannesburg, South Africa. Welcome to my online program, ebizwa Uhambo Lwami NoNkulunkulu. It is the hour, it is the day that the Lord has made. Therefore, we are rejoicing and are glad in it. Namhlanje I want to share nge subject your worship, how God has used worship in my life to help me ukuthi ngiconquer. In fact, how God has fought for me emhlabeni against the attacks that have come against me endleleni empilo. It was He, yena uNkulunkulu ongilwelayo, but it was I who had worshipped or who worships Him. Ngelinye ilanga God says to me, worship me. I was feeling very down. My heart was just a mess. Even my body felt a heaviness. Then God says, worship me. And as I started worship in song, raising my voice towards heaven, telling Him how great and how good He is, all of a sudden, I saw a dark thing, like ngazathi it was a cloud ekadihlele emahlombe dark eba lifted out iyasuka, and that heaviness was gone. Like so it was literally gone, and I felt light, very light. Then God says to me, you see, worship, raising your voice towards heaven, telling me and saturating yourself in worship has always been your weapon against the forces of darkness that have attacked you all your life. I didn't know. Mina ngakhula ngumntwana oziculela etoilet, ucula estradeni, ucula ejaridini, that kind of a child who always, according to other people, who has made noise. Even at university, I used to sing. At rest, I would just bust in worship to an extent that they called a meeting with Thandiwe after 10 o'clock ebusuku, please. Sisungasenzela umsindo, uyasdisturb siyafunda, So I've been that child who worshipped, but I didn't know that has always been a weapon that God had put in my hand against forces of darkness ezing attack. Even fast forward to 2018, all your life you've been subjected to witchcraft. All your life. Now 45 years. I was mangithi ngina 45 years ngisho ukuthi at 2018 I was 45 years of age. And you hear God telling you ukuthi all your life you've been subject to witchcraft. I didn't understand okokuqala. It really did not make sense. But I think God had trusted me enough managing information to tell me ukuthi that has been my reality all my life. And in fact, He was expecting me to pull up my socks in worship, in prayer, in speaking the word, and in living a holy life. Uhambo lwami noNkulunkulu njalo. God reminds me ukuthi, I'm just making an example here. When I got accepted at University of the Western Cape, it became umzukuzuku. Mangithi umzukuzuku, there was a challenge. The spirit of rejection was at play. Initially, the social work department had accepted me to study for a social work degree in 1992. I was doing matric in 1991, and I had applied at University of the Western Cape a year before. At that time, Tina says apply with your standard 9 results, grade 9 results. And the social work department had assessed my results and accepted me because my results were quite good with standard 9. Unfortunately, the admin office at the University of the Western Cape had sent out regret letters. Even though the Department of Social Work within the university had accepted me. So there was a mistake that was done by the admin office. And in 1992, the social work department called my mother. Look at God. look at the hand of God against evil forces in our lives. God allowed or made the social work department to ask ukuthi umamami ukuthi why uThandiwe Nyoni engekho esikolweni esikhathi se-orientation. I was supposed to be among the students ngo-February, but I was not there. The social work department became concerned. My mother answered and said that person was rejected by the university. Then, but no man, no way. That person was amongst the first people. She was selected amongst the first people who were selected to study for a social work degree in 1992. Then my mother calls, Thandiwe, back, siyahamba, siya Cape Town tomorrow. So look at God. Ukuthi even in the midst of rejection, in the midst of witchcraft, God's hand has been stronger against all forces. When God said, worship me, I did not know that God had always given me a weapon against forces of darkness. I don't know about you. If all your life, I mean, really, it was shocking. 2014, I had a slot with the radio, London Joyous Radio. At that time, they had offices in Egerton. And I had invited a guest, Miss Kanyisile Sibego, to come and speak within my slot. And she's been one of the speakers that time and again we've used as the protege. However, that day she says to me, when in the spirit, there are these women who has covenanted against your life and they have said, Angeke uye ndawo. Remember, NoNkulunkulu 2018 uthi kimi, all your life you've been subject by witchcraft and you've been attacked by witches and witchcraft. In 2014, somebody tells me, ukuthi wena, or there are people abathi awuyi ndawo, witches. Ngiyamuzwa, angimuzwi kahle. At that time, I am still not understanding this world here, which yama witches and wizards. Till today, I'm not saying with me I understand that, but I understood one thing. NoNkulunkulu will give you tools. NoNkulunkulu will expect you to be at the level Mageti worship me, you worship him. Mageti, it's time to pray, you pray. Most of us we don't. I'm still learning to obedience. But for the sake of anybody who's listening, or who's watching this video, NoNkulunkulu is a fair and a faithful God. For me, he said, worship me. Yes, there are other tools that God uses. Prayer, like I've said, reading the word, living a holy life. It just depends on to keep a lipika dingalolo lang. But most of us, we have strategies, we have tools that God had given and put in our hands to use against the forces of darkness that follow or attack us. But uNkulunkulu ekhambeni naye, we triumph. We siyaphumelela because he who was, who is, or who is to come is greater than all forces of darkness put together la emhlabeni. I have learned from other pastors, mabeti, if inkinga inelanga lokuqala, it has a starting date. It also has an expiry date. So God said to me, worship. So umuntu wasemhlabeni, discover your niche. Discover your tool. Ukuthi uNkulunkulu kuwe uthini against forces of darkness. Isende lendlela sisazoyihamba. And as we sihamba noNkulunkulu, we must know and realize ukuthi uNkulunkulu mkhulu. uNkulunkulu. And he fights all these battles for us. In him we move. In him it is our being. Yeah. Ngicela ukubonga isikhathi sakho. Ngicela ukubonga indlebe zakho. Ngicela ukubonga ukuhamba nathi kule ndlela noNkulunkulu, ohambeni lwethu noNkulunkulu. This is Pastor Thandiwe Nyoni from Johannesburg signing off. God day and God bless you.